Hey guys, Shannon here with Healthcare Genius, and I've got Michael on with me as well. And we today wanted to talk to you about how to choose the right life insurance and how to find a cheap life insurance policy that will still suit your needs during a pandemic. And the type of policy we're going to talk about today is not something that we normally talk about or even recommend very often, but it could be a great solution with what's happening today with the uncertainty with jobs and the economy. So Michael, do you want to give us a little insight on what that type of policy is?
Yeah, thanks, Shannon. So obviously with the layoffs that are going on, we know in this country that most people, the only life insurance is the life insurance they have at work that's employer paid in a lot of cases, although it could be voluntary as well. So with that being said, people who are getting laid off are losing their insurance coverage. And we were trying to look at some ideas that we could help people, through this time with some products that might be able to fit their budget, given the financial constraints that are going on. So there's a product out there, we won't mention the name of the company, but it's called Annual Renewable Term. And what's different from annual renewable term than some of the other products we've talked about before is that you have a premium that starts off one rate and then each year it goes up. So by the end of 10 years, it's going to be more expensive than a level 10-year term would be, life insurance policy. But in the first couple of years, it's a lot less. So it can save people money. We looked at this for a 40-year-old and they had $1 million of coverage in this case. And the premium difference was about $800 a year. So, that gave them some, fairly significant savings from what they were paying.
A premium difference from what type of policy?
From a 10-year term policy.
Okay. So generally how a term policy will work is it's usually either 10, 15, 20, 30 years where the premium stays the same. And in the policy that we're talking about, it's just a 1-year thing. Now, one thing to keep in mind with this type of policy is you don't have to be underwritten every year, right?
That's right. So once you buy it, then it is going to go up, but you don't have underwriting each year for the policy. And then what's unique about this particular company is that within that first 3 years of buying this policy, you can actually convert it and change it to a 20 or a 30-year term policy. So it's kind of a stopgap for somebody who maybe has, life insurance needs and they're trying to lower the cost given where we are today in the economy.
Yep. And then in a couple years, when things are back on track or when they have more job security, then they can convert that policy into something that's a little more long-term and can guarantee a certain premium for a number of years. Now, we mentioned underwriting. For somebody that has only had a life insurance policy that's paid for by their employer, what does it look like to go through underwriting? What does that mean? And what's the benefit of not having to do it often?
Great question, Shannon. When your employer's buying your insurance, most of the time it's called guarantee issue, meaning that you don't have to answer any health questions and you're going to get the policy no matter what. When we talk about underwriting, we're basically saying that an insurance company is going to look at your health history. In the past, we used to have insurance companies who would have a paramed come out and do an exam at your house. They might take blood and urine. They did a lot of things to make sure that you are a candidate for the coverage. Most of the companies today have gotten rid of those exams up to a certain amount of life coverage. So we see $1 million, some companies too. We even have one company out there now that's offering $3 million without having to do the blood and urine and the exams. So you're just answering health questions. They're looking at some records behind the scenes and then typically can make a determination. They can always come back and request that before they issue the policy, but in most cases, they're able to provide you an offer without having to do the blood, urine, and the exam.
It is a little bit more in depth, even though it's not as old school as it used to be. It's a little bit more in depth than what your employer policy is. So again, if you've never bought a life insurance policy yourself, if it's always been paid for by an employer, just be aware that that's going to happen. If you're healthy, nothing to worry about. And if you have health issues, that'll just be taken into account when you're applying for a policy.
One more thing, I think it's times like these that really help us understand how important it is to have some sort of individual coverage for ourselves and our family because of things that are out of our control. Certainly we have a lot of people being impacted by this, but over the years we see layoffs, we see people getting early retirement and then not having life coverage, and they still need that for various reasons. So it's important to make sure that you've got something in place that's outside of what that employer coverage might be. So for events like this.
I mean, nobody really saw this coming, and it's impacted so many people health wise, but also in their careers. And yeah, we've seen so many layoffs that we just think it's really important for everybody to understand life insurance so they know that they'll always have it and they'll always be covered if that's something that they should choose to do, regardless of what's going on with their jobs. Thanks for watching. We are going to do a couple more videos here on different types of life insurance, but if this sounds like something that you want to look into, if you have lost your job recently, or if you're in a position where you just want to sit down and have a review, either look at buying a new policy or looking at your existing policy, we're always here to help. So feel free to comment in the comment section below, or if you want to apply to become a client of ours, go ahead and visit the description below where you can do that. Again, we're always here to help, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already, and click the notification bell so you know when we come out with new videos.